younger than me. This is the stuff that you're supposed to know, and I'm not supposed to know.
I don't know, man. I guess I'm in the casino too much. I'm taking down
Don't
ranges.
get married. Just don't get married.
Come on, man. Why is everybody picking on me?
I've had people. I've had more than one person try to dox me hardcore online, on Twitter and on other forums and news groups, and then take photos of me in different places. I've had people like
what?
Yes, like I've had people like go on Twitter and say where they saw me in specific spots. I attract more crazy people than you, obviously.
Yeah.
But I attract real nuts, like absolute nuts.
And those are your type of people, right? You love them? I'm
No,
a psychology major.
No.
That was my thing in college. I love the psychology stuff. Like your wife, right?
Yes. My wife does not love the nuts I attract. 3 players. But I attract a lot of super cool people too. But I attract some fucking nuts.
So Neil raises up to 75. His sixes are still good. Brett wants to play almost every hand now. He is the biggest action player at the table.
I tell you what, I'm happy about it.
Neil does a small bet of $60, which is effectively 25% of the pot. And looks like it's going to get through. No, scrap is going to float. Since it was a small bet, he's going to see if he can turn some... Oh, there he goes. He turns a king. I was going to say a pair or a gut shot.
Hold on. It's 90%.
This isn't going to work, I don't think. I think Neil's going to barrel him. How do I just know this stuff? He does it!
No, he does your check again.
He did the weird check. He should have just barreled him.
In my opinion, there's no point for him to barrel once he calls on an ace-high board.
Oh, Neil was the caller?
No, Neil raised 60 pre-flop, and then Neil bet the flop.
Yeah.
60. Why would you keep barreling an ace-high flop on a rainbow board?
Well, that's because he made the little tiny bet. The little tiny bet usually sets up a barrel. I'm not saying he should.
Okay, that's
I said
true.
I think he's going to. But now he's going to... Is he going to go for the big check raise here? Yes, he is. No, listen to me. I know what's going on here. It's because he thinks Scrap capped his range. Because he made the tiny bet and Scrap just called. He's thinking Scrap is weak. That's what he's thinking. That's why I thought that he would barrel. He's thinking if Scrap had something, he would have raised him a little bit, at least on the flop.
I'm not even a Raiders fan.
I think
I don't necessarily agree with his analysis.
I think it's because of Scrap's small turn bet that induced that raise more than anything.
But Scrap
calls?
Wow, this is a
Oh
huge
my
pot
God.
now. And an ace
Neil gives up?
He has to give up because an ace game of the river is the
Neil
worst
gives up.
card for him in the entire world.
Neil gave up.
I know.
That was the craziest hand we've seen all
Yes.
night, and we've seen some crazy hands.
But let me tell you something about this.
They
hand.
like induced each other.
Let me tell you something about this hand. This is sort of important, and people always say I never talk about stuff. I know exactly what Neil was doing. Neil threw out the tiny bet to see if it would just get flatted, okay? And once it just got flatted, Neil decided that his opponent's range was capped. And he was right, okay? But there's a problem with his logic. He's not going to be right a lot of the time. And the reason, this is very important, because you got to know something about Neil. Neil has issues and a lot of problems. But
What does that have to do with the hand?
because it just has a lot to do with it.
Fine.
It has to do with the reason why he just sort of likes to shoot himself in the dick a lot. But at least he's shooting, right?
I mean,
Even though if it hits his dick a lot of the time, at least he's shooting.
okay.
Now listen to me. This is really important, dude. Like, I'm going to tell you guys something. The board was too dry. If the board would have been just a little wetter, Neil's play makes perfect sense. The board was too dry. Even with an ace on it, the board was too dry. So Neil can't make that play because, like you said, some thinking opponents or even unthinking opponents will still just flatten that spot. But if the board, instead of being ace, 8, deuce, rainbow, was ace, 8 of spades, 9 of spades, now you can make that play. Because thinking and non-thinking opponents will raise in that spot. Okay?
Absolutely. With any hand, they don't want the draws to get their cheek. They want to protect it.
Yes. So